After installing Service Pack 3 or higher for SalesLogic 7.5, a new web administration toolset is available when you log onto the client as admin. You can find specific training on all of these features inside this new administration menu when you log on to the SalesLogic's Administrator subscription. In this video, however, we'll just explore the toolset and then compare it against the LAN counterparts so that you can identify how or when you might use this tool. So we saw that I logged on as admin, so I have this administration menu at the top, and then I also have this administration nav bar. Now I have another SalesLogic's web window open, logged on as Vicky, and she's just a standard SalesLogic's user, and you can see that Vicky does not have any administrative roles, so she doesn't see the administration menu that I see when logged on as admin. So some of the tools in the web administrator, if you kind of look through what's available, for example, like managing pick lists or products, are perfect to give to a SalesLogic's power user or sales manager like Vicky, who does not need or want full access to the LAN administrator or even the LAN client for that matter. In fact, if we take a look, 8 of these tools, and I'm talking about competitors, lead sources, products, packages, pick list, literature items, resources, and qualifications. These tools offer the same functionality that's available when you log on to the LAN client as admin. If I go under the Tools menu, I see those same features under Manage. So I have qualifications, competitors, pick lists, all those things that we just saw in the web client. And there's actually one more feature. If we look under the Maintenance menu, we see that we have the option to check for duplicates, and we also have that in the Web Administrator, and that's located under the Tools menu, so we have these duplicate options. So as we see in both the web clients and the LAN clients, these features are restricted from standard SalesLogic's users by default. So if I log on as Vicky to the SalesLogic's network client, you can see that Vicky doesn't have access to any of those features. Now in the LAN, if I want to give Vicky access to those features, the way I would do that is go into the SalesLogic's administrator. I would open Vicky's user profile, and then under Function Security, I would expand the Tools menu, and then I would give access to both the Manage and the Maintenance menus. And so when Vicky logs back in, so we could just do a Control F5. Now when Vicky opens the Tools Manage menu, she can see all of those items as well as the maintenance. However, when Vicky logs on to the web client, she still does not have access to any of those features, the administration menu, because granting function security is only applicable to the network client. So in the web, the way we grant access to certain administrative features is by giving certain users what we call roles. And a role works just like function security does in the network client. So if I click roles, I'm logged on as admin, I can see all of the default roles that come out of the box. And in fact, I may have added 1 or 2 custom roles in here. So you can create your own roles, and here's the administrator role that we could assign to Vicky if we want to give her all of those features. But just be careful, because this administrator role does include users, teams, and departments in addition to all of these other features. So if you trust Vicky enough to have access to see all of the users, maybe create her own or something, or look at all the teams, then that role would be fine. But there are other roles, for example, this data quality manager, that maybe Vicky just needs access to do duplicate checking. So this is how you would assign Vicky to a role. You select the role, and then on the Users tab, click Add, and then we search for Vicky, and now we save. And now when Vicky, let's say right now she doesn't have those features, and then she logs off and then logs back on, under her Tools menu, she should see all the duplicate checking options now. So that's how you assign a standard user a role, so that they can see some or part of the administration tools in the web. So if you're curious how a role gets its functionality, we need to look under the Actions tab, and if you scroll down Secured actions, that's what we're talking about. That's what we see here. And this is indicating the part of the interface item that's restricted. So how you designate which interface item has a secured action is by going into the application architect. And I'm not going to go into this tool in depth because you can find more training in the appropriate training video in the administrator subscription. But what that means, let's say we want to restrict users from deleting leads, for example, we could, on the delete button of the lead detail form, there is a property called applied security, and that's where it's pulling from. So these are all of our secured actions, and then we just tell which interface items gets the secured action. The roles and the secured actions are particularly interesting for this video because it's unlike anything you've seen in the LAN administrator before. The roles and secured actions are unique to the web client. And the last 4 features that we'll compare between LAN and web, you've already seen, and that is, let's see, we've got users, teams, departments, and the library. These features are like for like what you see in the administrator application, so users, teams, and then within teams you can manage departments, and then we have the library. And so you'll see if I go into something like users, I have the same list that I do in the full administrator, and if I click to view one of these users, I can manage which calendars the user sees, service and support information, client system, team membership, user team membership, security, and department membership. And so if we just explore what that looks like, refresh our memory for the LAN administrator. Again, we have client system, the service support, different calendars. So they're all very similar. And same with teams. If we go into teams and refresh everything that we can do with teams, then we take a look at teams in the web client. We can see that we can add users to the teams, we can decide which account, or we can see a list of all the accounts on that team, same as we could do with the LAN client. The only difference in the web administrator is that you're not able to create new security profiles. You can apply a security profile to a team, but in the full administrator, you're allowed to actually create new security profiles right here. And so you can't do that in the web, and that's the only difference that I can see anyway. And then, of course, in the web client, you have the ability to create groups of teams and groups of departments, whereas you can't do that in the full LAN administrator. So our last feature is the ability to add or remove library items. So you remember this in the LAN administrator. When we go to the library, we can create new folders, add new files, and only the administrator can do that, or somebody with an administrative role. So in the web client, how that works then is if you are logged on as administrator, the way you add files to the library is going to the library page under the sales nav bar. And then now you have this special toolbar that you can add and edit folders and then add files. So if I log on as Vicky to the web client, who does not have a librarian role in the web client, so she can just consume the information, she can't add or remove anything. But I created this custom librarian role, and if you're interested in learning how to do that, you can check out slxtraining.net for our blog, and then again, you can also visit the Sage SalesLogix Administrator's subscription. And that was our last feature to compare. So you can see that the web administrator is a great tool set to give certain users access to features, or for you to use yourself as the administrator if you want to change a user's password from your mobile device or save yourself from having to remote into your admin workstation, for example.